Right, time to talk Super Rugby. Yesterday we had Sterling Mortlock in and he explained the new format. We've got 18 teams representing 5 countries across 4 continents split into 4 conferences. It's all a bit confusing, but now all we need to worry about are the games. Phil Waugh, hello to you. Hope you got your head around it all, have you?
Well, I'm glad Sterling explained the format, but yeah, I think it's exciting. I think exciting on the back of last year's Rugby World Cup and obviously the Sevens a couple of weeks ago. So now the guys get a chance to get into the Super Rugby season. Exciting
times. Is it a little bit lopsided? We were only talking this morning about the fact the Stormers don't actually play anybody from New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and I guess with the new format and 18 teams, and I guess, you know, South Africa being as far away as they are, you know, and they've got 6 teams, so obviously playing each other a lot and not facing New Zealand teams, so perhaps favourable draw for them, but they'll still go well.
I imagine they will. The competition starts at Eden Park. The Blues host the defending champions, the Highlanders. The first game I want to discuss is the Brumbies up against the Hurricanes, though. It's the time to strike for the Brumbies, I would imagine. They have, well, 12 internationals in their starting side, and when you consider that Moore's leaving, Tamua's leaving, Pocock is heading off on a sabbatical, so if you're going to win, it has to be this year.
Yeah, look, and I think under the mentorship and coaching of Stephen Larkham as well, but just the maturity of Pocock, Stephen Moore, and then just some real strike power out wide as well. So, you know, for me, the Brumbies are, as you say, one of the teams to beat in the competition, and you know, it's great to see that those players have stayed around, have announced that they are going to be leaving, but they're going to put it all in for this season.
You mentioned the travel from South Africa. It's not just the travel, but also the time zones, particularly the fans who are trying to watch. It's amazing. On Saturday, we've got the first game kicks off at 4 a.m. and the last one's 9:55 p.m. Got about 4 or 5 games. Brilliant, isn't it? The opportunity that everybody has. Doesn't matter when you get up, you can watch some rugby.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. I mean, it's just about more content, and it's getting more and more exciting. And you know, we saw in the 2003 World Cup there was 27 field goals. In 2015 World Cup there was 7 field goals. So you know, all the players, the intent's changed. It's all about scoring tries now, and certainly with the new format and new bonus point system, it's going to increase in terms of that focus on scoring tries rather than field goals and penalty goals.
I hope it does. As far as the Argentines are concerned, how do you expect them to fare? And how should I be saying their team name?
The Jaguars.
Are you happy?
Is that right?
Yeah,
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. But look, I think they'll do well. And I mean, again, great momentum on the back of the World Cup last year. But the great thing is that all their players, or the majority of their players, have committed to this Super Rugby team. And I mean, fantastic for them to be back living in Argentina rather than having to go to Europe to be a professional rugby player.
In terms of a game that does actually suit our time zone a little better, because that one is particularly early, that's probably the Japanese team, the Sunwolves. What are your expectations with them? And I imagine, given they had a strong World Cup as well, many will expect that to filter over, but it is difficult to back up that sort of performance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I mean, they'd be pretty raw too. I mean, they've only been together for about 4 or 5 weeks, so to
when
get the combination...
Coach? December,
I think? The coach was, yeah, late December. So, look, I think it's going to be difficult for them early on, and can they keep up you know, that form of the World Cup and you know, the number of great players that they've got? Will they be all fit and playing for the team as well? So it'll be really interesting to see how they progress.
The Crusaders host the Chiefs, and then tomorrow night the Tars host the Reds. Somewhat biased, perhaps, but do you expect the Tars to get up? And is Bernard Foley's absence a good thing or a bad thing? Many believe Curtly Beale's better suited where he will play on the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Curtly Beale slotting in at 5/8 to replace Bernard Foley. You know, for me, I think the two have been playing first receiver a lot anyway. When Curtly plays at 12 at inside centre, Bernard's at 10, they slot in and interchange at first receiver. So Curtly will be very comfortable there. Look, I think he's a fantastic 10, but in saying that, you know, he opens up the wider channels when he's playing at 12. So you see Horwitz at 12, so they've still got a ball player at 12 to open up the channels for the likes of Israel Folau. But look, I think, you know, I spent time with Curtly on the Sydney to Hobart race, and he's just very excited to be taking on more of a leadership role than anything else. And look, I'm expecting a really big season from him.
Did he enjoy it?
He was unbelievable. He'd never been on a boat before, and he was probably the one person on the whole boat who didn't get sick. So it was fantastic to have him on.
Wow, that's impressive. Over in Perth, we have the final game for tomorrow, which is late. So if you're looking at staying up late and watching some rugby, that's the one for you. The Force knocked off the Rebels in the final game of their season last year. Do you imagine I think that was away. Do you imagine they can back it up and win at home here?
Yeah, look, I mean, the force will start well. I think that, you know, under Foley, they would have had a very tough pre-season. You know, the Rebels came home strongly last year, so look, I think you know, this is a game. You know, Nick Sturzaker, what great season he had last year. Look, I think it's a number of you know, up-and-coming youngsters playing for both the Force and for the Rebels, and you know, it's a pretty exciting game. But I mean, we don't really know a lot about either of the teams.
Every year we want both of those teams to do well. I hope that it is this year. We're always talking them up, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, and I think for the Rebels, I mean, they're far more consistent in terms of their roster than they have been in previous years, and the Force, well, you know, we always hope that they do well. They normally upset a few teams, and often the Waratahs have beat them last year twice. So, look, I think it's going to be, you know, I guess interesting to see how they progress and move through the competition, and can they stay at the same form all the way through.
Well, I know you're a big cricket fan. We enjoyed the summer. We enjoyed beating New Zealand, but now we get to focus on the rugby and the footy codes as well. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Yeah, pleasure, thank you.
Speak to you again soon. Former Wallaby Phil Ward.